The red carpet has been rolled out in Washington D.C, but the welcome mat for Prince Harry has been officially incinerated. It is 9 a.m. on April 29, 2026, and we are witnessing the most brutal constitutional execution in the history of the House of Windsor. As King Charles III touches down for this historic state visit, the message from the palace is deafeningly silent. The era of the Sussexes is over, and the era of James Alexander has begun. While sirens scream through the streets of Manhattan and security reaches a fever pitch following the recent chaos in the capital, the King has drawn a surgical red line that Harry and Meghan simply cannot cross. High-level diplomatic sources within the British Embassy have confirmed that at exactly 10:15 a.m. yesterday, the King declined a third consecutive request for a private audience from his younger son. This was not a scheduling conflict. It was a total systemic shutdown. One senior official described the internal atmosphere, stating that the King's mood is one of absolute finality. The official recalled the King saying that his priority is the stability of the state, not the management of family grievances. This is what insiders call the sang-froid of the King, a cold, unbreakable composure that stands in stark contrast to the constant professional atrophy occurring in Montecito. While Harry lashes out at United States leadership and sees his speaking fees plummet to a mere $50,000, the King is demonstrating the true meaning of sovereign defiance. In the wake of the security crisis in Washington, Charles has refused to hide. He has adopted the legendary keep calm and carry on protocol, showing the world that a monarch provides stability while a celebrity provides only noise. This is the constitutional breaking point. The palace has realized that you cannot build a future on a foundation of drama, and they have found their new foundation in the 18-year-old Earl of Wessex. If you are as shocked by this clinical reorganization of the monarchy as we are, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. We are tracking every move of this state visit in real time. Drop a comment below with the word duty if you think it is time for the Crown to move on from the Sussex scandal. The most jarring signal of this shift is not just the King's silence, but the sudden elevation of James Alexander. While Harry is being relegated to a pinch hitter on the corporate speaking circuit, James has been moved into the inner sanctum of the Duchy of Cornwall. Reports from London indicate that the Prince of Wales has personally entrusted James with managing a high-level portfolio of state documents. One source close to Prince William described the transition, explaining that William views James as the spare that was promised, a reliable, discreet, and scandal-free supporting pillar who understands that service is a duty, not a birthright for the disgruntled. At 10:30 a.m. this morning, as the King prepares for tea with the President, the contrast could not be more devastating. In Montecito, Meghan Markle is reportedly attempting to rebrand her professional failures as royal restraint, claiming she is self-editing her content to protect the crown. However, industry veterans have dismantled this narrative, calling it pure sophistry. They point out the irony of a woman who spent years attacking the institution now claiming she is too respectful to release a cooking show. The reality is much simpler. The Sussex brand has moved from a global powerhouse to a mid-tier cautionary tale. The monarchy has stopped negotiating because it no longer needs to. By fast-tracking James Alexander into frontline duties, they have destroyed Harry's only leverage, the idea that the crown lacked a younger generation of working royals. The constitutional purge is finished. As the King moves through Washington with the poise of a leader who has weathered the storm, the shadows of Montecito are being left behind forever. The names that now define the future of the British state are William, Catherine, and the emerging drama-free James Alexander. The silent boundary is now a permanent wall. Stay tuned as we dive into the second phase of this professional isolation in the next segment. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the breaking updates from the White House garden party later today. To understand the sheer scale of the collapse we are witnessing today, we must look at the brutal precision of the timeline over the last 8 days. This is what palace insiders are calling the Great Correction, a period where the British state has systematically dismantled the Sussex influence brick by brick. It began on the morning of April 25, 2026, at Hyde Park Corner in London. As the sun rose over the Anzac Day dawn service, the public saw a sight that felt like a bridge to a new era. Standing shoulder to shoulder with the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, was James Alexander, the Earl of Wessex. Witnesses described the atmosphere as electric. James, at just 18 years old, displayed a level of stoicism and discipline that many have compared to a young Prince Philip. While Harry was thousands of miles away, reportedly brooding in California, James was fulfilling the sacred duty of remembering the fallen. The consequence was immediate: a tidal wave of support from both the United Kingdom and Australia. The narrative shifted in a single morning. The public stopped asking when the spare would return and started celebrating the man who had already arrived to replace him. One military official present at the service described the moment, saying that James did not just show up. He commanded the space with a quiet, unforced dignity that Harry has not displayed in years. But the most humiliating blow came just 3 days later, on April 28th, in Washington, D.C. As King Charles arrived for his high-stakes diplomatic mission, the United States Secret Service, in full coordination with British Protection Command, established an unprecedented iron ring. Sources close to the security detail revealed an extraordinary directive. Prince Harry was to be kept in a 5-mile exclusion zone away from the King at all times. This was not just about safety. It was a total diplomatic blackout. The instruction was clear: no proximity, no spontaneous meetings, and absolutely no opportunity for a Sussex-style photo op. For a man who still carries the title of a Prince of the Blood, being treated as a security risk by his own father's hosts is a professional and personal catastrophe. Then, on May 1st, while the world was still reeling from the DC SNUB, the King struck again from the quiet of Windsor Castle. In a move of surgical legal precision, the King signed a new decree. This was not a suggestion. It was an order. Several key honorary titles and patronages that had been held in a state of abeyance for Harry were officially transferred to James Alexander. This was the moment the spare mantle was physically handed over. The palace has effectively rewritten the hierarchy, ensuring that the roles once reserved for Harry are now fueling the rise of the next generation. That brings us to today, May 3rd, and a desperate new offensive from the Sussex PR machine. With their multi-million-dollar Netflix contract reaching its terminal deadline in June, Meghan Markle has reportedly begun leaking a bizarre new narrative to friendly outlets. She is claiming that her projects, including her long-awaited cooking and lifestyle series, are being self-edited out of a noble desire to protect the King's reputation. Insiders, however, are calling this pure desperation. They describe a couple trapped in financial atrophy so severe that they are using the monarchy as a get-out-of-jail-free card for their own creative failures. They are not protecting the King. They are protecting their remaining bank balance. As we look toward the next 24 hours, the question is not whether Harry and Meghan can recover, but how much further they are willing to go as their Hollywood support network continues to evaporate. There are whispers of a new, even more controversial strategy involving the digital images of their children, a move that could spark a legal firestorm the likes of which Montecito has never seen. The walls are closing in, and the King's silence is the loudest sound in the room. What we are witnessing is the total stripping of Prince Harry's diplomatic identity, a process so thorough it has left him as nothing more than an unauthorized actor on the global stage. This is the authority staircase in action. And the first step was a formal diplomatic dossier issued by the British Foreign Office. We have learned that senior British officials have directly communicated with the United States State Department, issuing a formal notice of non-representation. This document explicitly states that any remarks made by Prince Harry regarding international affairs, specifically his recent controversial comments on Ukraine and American domestic policy, do not under any circumstances represent the British state. One senior diplomat described the internal shift, explaining that the palace had to move beyond polite distance to active disavowal. The official stated that Harry's attempts to play the role of a freelance statesman have become a liability to the Anglo-American relationship. By formalizing this separation, the Crown has effectively muted Harry's microphone in the halls of power. He is no longer a prince speaking with the weight of a 1,000-year-old institution. He is simply a private citizen whose opinions carry no more weight than any other celebrity in California. This diplomatic silencing led directly to the second tier of his isolation, the coordinated Washington Blackout. During the current state visit, the coordination between the United States Secret Service and the British Protection Command has extended into the social sphere. In a move that has sent shock waves through the Montecito enclave, the State Department and the British Embassy have worked together to ensure Harry's total exclusion from every high-level engagement. This is not just about a missing invitation to a garden party. This is a surgical operation to deplatform the Duke. Sources indicate that any organisation hosting the King was given a strict protocol. If the Sussexes are present, the King is not. By forcing the hand of Washington's political elite, The palace has made Harry a social pariah in the one city where he desperately sought influence. But the final step of this staircase is the most dangerous for the Duke's future in America: the loss of his legal sanctuary. For years, Harry has existed in a grey area of diplomatic proximity. But as of April 2026, that shield has vanished. Without the protection of the crown, Harry is now subject to the same cold, hard immigration laws as everyone else. The legal reality is setting in. His admissions of past substance use in his memoir, Spare, are no longer a literary flourish. They are a potential visa violation. Legal analysts are now pointing to a looming crisis. With his sovereign immunity effectively revoked by his own father's government, Harry is facing a rigorous review of his residency status. The Department of Homeland Security is under increasing pressure to determine if he was truthful on his initial visa application. One legal expert described the peril, noting that a private citizen with Harry's admitted history would typically face an immediate inquiry, if not an outright revocation of their right to remain in the country. He has become a titled commoner with no state protection, standing on the edge of a legal precipice. As the king sips tea in the White House, Harry is left to realize that his title is no longer a passport. It is a target. The palace has successfully moved him from the center of the story to the very margins of the law. And as we look at the wreckage of his commercial empire, a new question emerges. If the king has closed the door and the US government is checking the locks, where exactly does a prince with no country go next? The answers may lie in a series of failed business deals that are about to go public. To truly understand why the Sussex brand is in a state of terminal collapse, we have to look at the clinical business strategy the palace has deployed. This is what insiders are calling successor elevation, a three-step institutional protocol designed to make Prince Harry obsolete. The mechanism is simple but devastating. The crown is not fighting Harry. It is simply replacing him in the global consciousness with a younger, more reliable version of the future. The first step of this mechanism was the calculated absence. We saw this clearly during the centennial commemorations of the late Queen Elizabeth II's birth. In years past, Harry's absence would have been the headline, a gaping wound in the family fabric. But in April 2026, the palace executed a masterclass in marginalization. Harry was not just invited and declined. He was strategically edited out of the narrative altogether. One palace courtier described the strategy, explaining that the goal was to move Harry from estranged son to historical footnote by ensuring his absence was no longer treated as a scandal. The monarchy stripped him of his most valuable currency, his ability to disrupt. Step 2 was the filling of the gap. A monarchy requires a certain number of working royals to function. And with Harry gone, there was a vacancy in the younger generation tier. Enter James Alexander, the Earl of Wessex. This was not a slow introduction. It was an institutional promotion. At the recent state opening of Parliament, James did not just attend. He was positioned in the exact physical and symbolic space once reserved for Harry. In every official family portrait and every state broadcast, the public is being trained to see James as the new supporting pillar. He is being integrated into the Duchy of Cornwall's operations and the King's inner circle. The visual message is undeniable. The Spare is no longer a source of anxiety. He is a source of stability. This leads to step 3, which is perhaps the most damaging to the Sussexes, the contrast effect. This is the psychological weapon that has turned Harry into what industry insiders now call a toxic asset. James Alexander has been presented as the total antithesis of the Montecito brand. While Harry and Meghan are defined by calculated reveals, high-tension interviews, and constant professional atrophy, James represents a return to the stoic, service-oriented model of the late Prince Philip. One senior advisor described the effect, stating that James represents duty without the drama. He is 18 years old, scandal-free, and remarkably discreet. The consequence of this mechanism is a total shift in the global power dynamic. In the eyes of the British government and heritage brands like Dior or Gucci, James Alexander has become the safe bet. He offers the prestige of the crown without the risk of a late-night social media outburst or a litigious PR campaign. Meanwhile, Harry has been relegated to the status of a reputational refugee. When brands or world leaders look at Harry now, they do not see a prince. They see a liability who is only as relevant as his last grievance. James Alexander's rise has destroyed Harry's ultimate leverage. 4 years, the Sussexes operated under the assumption that the monarchy would eventually have to beg them to return because there were simply no other younger stars in the firm. By fast-tracking the Earl of Wessex, the king has proven that the institution is bigger than any one individual. As we look at the growing popularity of this new drama-free generation, a chilling reality is setting in for those in California. If James Alexander is the future, what happens when the world decides it no longer needs to remember the past? The answer may lie in the increasingly desperate ways the Sussexes are now trying to use their own children to stay relevant. The financial freefall of the Montecito enclave has now reached a point of no return, exposing a brutal reality. Prince Harry has gone from being the most sought-after royal in the world to a celebrity pinch-hitter on the corporate circuit. In a shocking development reported just this week, Harry's appearance fee for a symposium in Australia has plummeted to a mere $50,000. For a man who once commanded six-figure sums just to walk into a room, this 90% drop in market value is a clear sign of professional atrophy. One industry insider described the situation with chilling clarity, stating that the Harry brand is no longer an aspirational luxury. It is a discounted asset. This commercial decay is being further fueled by high-level political condemnation. During the ongoing state visit, reports have surfaced of former President Trump privately describing Harry as a man who simply does not know his place. This sentiment is echoing through the Washington elite, who reportedly see Harry not as a leader, but as a man who traded his birthright for a reality TV script that is no longer being renewed. The contrast between this professional desperation and the quiet rise of James Alexander, the Earl of Wessex, is staggering. While Harry is hawking speeches at half-empty retreats in the Southern Hemisphere, James is being positioned as a central figure in the Commonwealth's future. Just 48 hours ago, James was seen in a high-level discussion with Commonwealth leaders regarding the digital future for youth. He is not seeking a fee. He is fulfilling a mandate. The Wessex way is proving to be a masterclass in institutional longevity, showing the world that true royal power does not need a Spotify contract to be heard. Behind the scenes, the financial pressure on the Sussexes is becoming unsustainable. Without the king's son more responsibly, the couple is now personally responsible for a security bill estimated at $5 million a year, on top of the massive maintenance costs for their $14 million estate. With their landmark deals with Netflix and Spotify entering a state of terminal stagnation, the math simply no longer works. One financial analyst described the crisis, explaining that the Sussexes are effectively burning through their remaining capital just to maintain the illusion of a royal lifestyle. Adding to this sense of decay is the forensic dismantling of Meghan's professional credibility. Internal reports from the William Morris Endeavour Agency, or WME, suggest that the relationship was terminated not because of scheduling conflicts, but because of what insiders call diva demands and a total lack of verifiable content. While Meghan attempts to frame her silence as royal restraint, the industry sees it as professional incompetence. This stands in stark opposition to the discipline being displayed by James Alexander. Under the strict guidance of his mother, Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, James has been groomed for stability. One source within the Duchess's office described the training process, noting that James has been taught that the glamour of the crown is a tool for service, not a product for sale. As of this morning, April 29th, the Sussex sparkle has been officially replaced by the Sussex stain. Heritage brands that once courted the couple are now issuing polite but firm rejections. They see a couple who demands the prestige of the crown while living a lifestyle that fundamentally undermines it. But as the financial walls close in on the Montecito mansion, a darker rumor is beginning to circulate, one that suggests the couple is preparing a final desperate move involving the only assets they have left. What happens when a prince is forced to put his own heirs on the digital auction block just to keep the lights on? The answer may be more disturbing than anyone realized. As we stand at this historic crossroads on April 29th, 2026, the future of the British monarchy is being rewritten in real time. The era of correction has moved beyond mere public relations and into the realm of permanent constitutional change. Based on the cold, hard data from the current state visit and the internal shifts at Windsor, we can now map out the three potential scenarios for the final collapse of the Sussex brand. The first, and perhaps most tragic, scenario involves a final desperate cash grab. Industry analysts are already seeing the warning signs of digital exploitation as their high-value contracts enter terminal atrophy. There are whispers that Harry and Meghan may release a series of intimate home videos featuring Archie and Lilibet to secure a new wave of sponsorship. However, forensic experts have already raised alarms about recent clips, noting inconsistencies that suggest quilted or digitally altered footage. This path leads to a total loss of authenticity, turning the Sussexes into brand ambassadors for a lifestyle their parents can no longer afford. It would be a palatial prison of their own making, where every private moment is traded for a security deposit. The second medium probability scenario is the Great Tactical Retreat. In this version of events, Prince Harry finally accepts that the iron ring around his father is unbreakable. Realizing that Meghan's Hollywood support network has evaporated, Harry may seek a professional divorce from the Sussex brand to save his own remaining dignity. This would involve a humbled return to the United Kingdom, not as a working royal, but as a permanent exile living in a remote, high-security estate in Scotland. He would be the forgotten prince, stripped of influence and surviving on a strictly controlled allowance overseen by Prince William. However, the third and most likely scenario is the total institutional victory of James Alexander. The palace has spent months grooming the Earl of Wessex to be the ultimate replacement, and the plan is working perfectly. The most realistic outcome is that James will soon be elevated with a new senior dukedom, perhaps even a revival of a historic title, to officially signal his status as the new first spare. This would effectively erase Harry from the public consciousness, replacing the memory of his grievances with the reality of James's service. One senior advisor described this as the final edit, where the Crown simply stops acknowledging that the Sussexes ever held a frontline role. The reason this third scenario is the most probable is simple: the public has already embraced it. James Alexander offers a drama-free future that the British state desperately needs. While Harry is viewed as a reputational refugee, James is seen as the stable pillar. The monarchy has learned that it does not need to fight Harry. It just needs to outgrow him. If you want to stay ahead of the curve as this royal reorganization unfolds, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. We are the only channel providing this level of forensic detail on the Washington state visit. Like this video if you believe James Alexander is the right choice for the future of the crown, and share your thoughts in the comments. Is it truly checkmate for Harry? But as the king prepares to leave Washington, a chilling piece of intelligence has just reached our desk. King Charles has executed a final checkmate that goes far beyond a simple snub at a garden party. We have received reports that the king has quietly authorized a financial restructuring that will leave Harry completely exposed if he does not submit to William's new terms. But here is the open loop. James Alexander was recently spotted entering a meeting with the king's private solicitors to discuss legacy management, a portfolio that was once Harry's birthright. Has the king officially removed Harry from the royal will? And what exactly will the Montecito tax records, set to leak next week, reveal about the couple's true financial state? The era of secrets is over. The era of truth has just begun. Stay tuned.